Hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you can stay consistent with your marketing and reach more customers. My name is Penny, and I'm going to guide you through this content development process. I think it has more, this marketing stuff that we're doing, it's more than about just how many people can we reach or how many posts can we use that'll be viral. It's about actually utilizing our marketing to help us reach more customers and make more money with our businesses. And if you want to learn more about how all of this can fit together and help you develop your content marketing plan, I would love it if you would hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And below, in the description box, there are several links. One of them is for the Content Prompt Playbook. This is a free download. I know you're already using AI. What this is it's a free, like a step-by-step guide to teach you how to talk better to ChatGPT so it gets what you need for your marketing messages. Another link that you're going to see down below is that you can join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective. This is my group program. We get together every month on a Zoom call. You get a strategic workbook in your inbox every month. You're basically learning how to do more than just post more for your marketing. It's about understanding what's remarkable content and doing it in a group, supportive group online space. So actually see what happens with your marketing when you get some help that you need. So you see the links below. You know what to do to learn more. All right, I want to talk about today's video. Hold on a second. Today's video. I'm excited about today's video because it's something that I actually started this channel on this topic that I want to talk about today. And it has everything to do with us as business owners and the things that we do as business owners. So if we start from this place, if you've ever noticed that when your business starts to slow down, you suddenly become incredibly busy. You're like, oh my goodness, I didn't reach that sales goal, or I'm not growing my email as much as I wanted to, or I really thought that series was going to do better and I was going to get more people in the challenge. What do I need to do? So you start posting more. You're thinking, okay, I need to rework my homepage. Maybe that's what happened. When people went to the website, they couldn't understand what I do. And then you're thinking, okay, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time. Does my LinkedIn profile actually talk about me? I'm going to update that. And then you create another freebie. Maybe you should rework your logo. You start researching ideas and you're saying, okay, I saw that this was the problem and I'm doing something about it to fix it. And you keep moving through this stuff and you've got this whole laundry list of things that you're going to be working on. But your business is still slow and nothing really changed. And before long, even if you've updated your website, even if you did give yourself a month of posting more, even if you updated and reworked your LinkedIn profile, you're most likely right back where you started. And I think this is happening because what's going on is it's a business owner's productivity marketing loop. It's a big fancy word that's a big fancy phrase that I just shared. But what I just shared with that loop is it makes you feel productive. It makes you feel like you're doing something. You're not just sitting there looking at posts and going, why isn't anybody clicking, and just chewing your fingernails and saying, I don't understand. You feel like you're doing something. And while you're doing these things, while you're updating your website and learning more about your customers, and it's reducing that anxious feeling. But unfortunately, maybe 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, and you're still working on that update on that website and you're still trying to figure out how to stay consistent, you're not seeing the business growth. So I want to talk about this today because I want to talk about this thing that's happening to us as business owners. And I want to talk through it because I believe that it's quietly shaping the way that you are utilizing your marketing with your business. And when you start to recognize this, you can change it. And when you change this loop, you can actually start to change the direction of your business. Now, I started out my business and I actually started this YouTube channel based on this very same premise because I was finding myself consistently doing the same thing over and over again. And I get it because your brain loves habits. It loves it when we do things over and over again. If you think about it from this place, if I were to ask you the question, how do you put your shoes and socks on? Do you know? Do you put a sock and then a shoe and then a sock and then a shoe? Or do you put both socks on and then both shoes? You don't even know, do you? Now that I'm asking you and you're thinking about it, you're going, I don't know. I just sit down and I put my shoes and socks on. Because it's so automatic. It's the same thing as how you brush your teeth. Do you think about where's the first part in your mouth that you start brushing your teeth? When's the last part? Do you brush your tongue? Do you rinse? Do you brush again? Do you use a special kind of tooth? Do you think about this? You don't, because it's automatic. And our brain loves these kinds of shortcuts. And when we can do something like that, we become more efficient and more effective with our time. Your brain loves this and it turns it into a habit. And habits are wonderful. And habits are amazing, especially when they're helping us get dressed, brush our teeth, make coffee in the morning. All of those things that we don't have to think about doing. We're repeating the same thing over and over again and we realize it. And that's when it happens. But here's the thing. Habits are fantastic, except when they're not really helping us. But we think they are because we don't have the awareness yet. And as I was saying, that was one of the things about why I had started this. I had started this part of my business. I had been doing the marketing consulting for 20 something years, and I moved into this area of my business, and I want to say it started at about 5 years ago, because I started thinking, maybe it was 6 years ago. I think it's been 6 years now. I started thinking about this. Why was I so highly productive, yet I wasn't breaking through? I wasn't getting more clients. I wasn't, seeing an increase in my business. And so I started to take a step back and tried to understand what were the things that I was doing and what was the things that I should be doing. And that's what took me down this path of understanding the whole thing, about learning about the brain and how the brain works and how we can function with our prefrontal cortex and all of these types of things that we do with the decision making. And I wrote a book about it. And there's a link down there below if you ever want to see, if you understand how to tap into your creativity so that you could make sure that you can keep moving forward with your business. But I started learning about these habits and I started understanding the habit that I had gotten into and the things that I was doing. And that when this would happen in my business, how I immediately would turn to this. And then I would look back 3 months down the road and say, I did this, 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 and this. Why didn't this work? Because I just kept pushing forward with the same habits that I was repeating over and over again, but I wasn't getting anywhere. It's almost like a visual description would be, the habit wheel. Or, excuse me, what do you call it? The habit wheel. I called it a habit wheel. Hamster wheel. That's it. The little animals call it a hamster. Where it goes round and round and round. It really doesn't go anywhere, but it's moving and moving and moving, and it feels like it's being productive, but it's really not going anywhere except going round and round. And that's the habit I want to talk about, because I have done it too. And when I got the awareness that I was doing it and I was able to make changes, that's when I started to see the changes in my business. And that's when I started to do things differently. So I want to talk about this. Let's talk about these habits, because habits are actually broken down into 3 parts. And I'm going to talk about our habits for business, but these types of habits can easily be transferred into things that are happening in our personal life, our family life, our relationships, things like that. But let's look at this through the eyes of us as business owners. Okay, so the first thing that our habits has is something called the cue, which is the trigger. Something happens. In business, it might be your sales are feeling slow. The email that you sent out to launch something got very few opens. The posts that a whole series of videos that you've been doing were supposed to lead people to a challenge, didn't get anything, didn't get any reaction, hardly got anybody to sign up, maybe a couple of your friends. And then what ends up happening is this trigger gets you to start comparing yourself. Why didn't this work? Why is everybody else's stuff working? Why is mine not working? Then you look at your bank account, see, I've got all these bills that need to pay. What's going to happen now? And it creates this emotional reaction. And this emotional reaction is what triggers your routine. So the routine is the second part of our habit. And this is the thing that you automatically do. Not what you plan to do, but what you instinctually do, because this is the thing that you always do. So you're looking at your bank account, you know you've got bills that you need to be paying. Why isn't this working for me? You know what it is? I need just to rework this content because this content didn't work. Or you know what it is? It was too much money. Maybe I should just run the campaign saying that for this week only, I'm going to reduce it down to, X, Y, and Z, and give them so much value. Or maybe it was the sales page. I should rework that whole sales page because that's not a good pain point. You know what? Maybe I need some help on this and I just don't know what I'm doing. Maybe what I should do is maybe I should go find a coach, or maybe I could just go join one of those courses, or just a DIY course that I could just save a little bit of money. I'll do it on my own, and then I'll just spend all of this time trying to figure out how to make this work. And I'm doing all of these things instead of selling. So do you see the routine? Do you see how I immediately jumped into it? And I also want to ask you this question as I went through my whole laundry list of things that I would do. How many of you out there have that same exact reaction? How many of you out there were just nodding your head, going, yeah, I do that too. I would do that. I would do that. And let me tell you, what I just listed here, those are not bad action steps. Those are really important things that we would do for our business. But the problem isn't the activity itself. The problem is that I immediately jumped into something automatic, just like the way I brush my teeth. I'm not asking whether it's solving the problem. This is just what I normally do. So I'm just going to do it. So now the third part of the habit, and this is where it gets interesting, is the thing called the reward. And the reward isn't always immediate business growth, isn't always immediate. It's not the thing that we hear these amazing stories about the customer or the coach who says, this one email series made me 6 figures. It's not that. The reward sometimes is something very emotional. You feel productive. You feel hopeful. See, I did come up with a series of ideas. I got an idea. I'm changing my pricing. You're doing something. And then that money panic kind of drops for a little bit because your brain says, you know what, that helped. We're in our habit. We feel good in our habit. And this is what helps, right? This is what's going to make us feel better. But what happened then is I just made myself feel better by doing the same thing that I always do. Except I didn't even stop to think, what's going to happen 3 months down the road if I'm still doing the same thing that I've always done? What is that the expression is the definition of insanity? What is it? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? It's something like that. And that's what I think we're doing. I probably messed that up. I think I did. So scratch that. Ignore that part. Go through it. Sorry about that. I'll have to remember how that expression goes. If somebody remembers that, put it in the comments below. Um, so let's talk about the reward. Because the next time your business is feeling slow and you repeat this exact same routine, even if it's never created the results that you wanted, you're still doing it. Because I just reworked my whole website. I just lowered my pricing and I didn't get new clients. But you know what I did get? I got some relief. I reduced the discomfort of my anxiety because I felt like I was doing something, but I didn't necessarily improve my sales. But that relief felt good. So my brain will keep returning to that same routine over and over again. So let's talk about what's a better way to do this. And this is where the awareness comes in. And this is the part that was happening to me. When I kept feeling like I was hitting that wall over and over and over again, man, that hurt. That I said, there's an awareness here that there's got to be something else. What is going on here? So what I thought about is creating a more healthier version of this loop. Because the cue is going to be exactly the same. Business is going to get slow. But it's the routine that changes. What if instead of you immediately jumping into do this, you pause and review? Like you pause and review what happened last month before I make any decisions about reducing my prices. I could pause and review, and let's look at my website traffic. Is it really that sales page, or was it just this week that the numbers were down? Maybe last month the sales page was getting a little bit more. And then when I'm pausing and reviewing, I'm looking at results. I'm looking at real numbers. And the reward is I don't get this temporary relief because now I feel productive. And if someone was to say, so I noticed that, the launch didn't go so well. What are you doing about it? And I can say, I'm doing this, and this, and this. And I have relieved that stress. But no, the reward now becomes a different type of reward. It's not relief in that sense that I feel like I'm doing something or I'm being productive or I'm doing more marketing. It's now I'm learning more about my numbers. Now I have clarity about what's happening so I can make better decisions. And that's a much healthier way to go through this loop. Because I think that every cycle teaches us something. Every time we're launching something, every time we're working on our website updates, or every time we are creating a new program or a product, it's teaching us something because we're learning more about what our customers need. We're learning more about the capacity of our business and how to make things, how we are helping people with what we're doing. Instead of just falling into the routine because it makes us feel busy, right? And this is one of the best things about using AI right now. And I know that we're jumping into this world and we're using AI in so many different ways and things, not just creating content, but strategy and helping us do productivity, make this plan or do whatever. But we can also use AI in this sense to help you interrupt this habit loop. Help you stop this automatic thinking of jumping into the same routine that you've always jumped into. So when you notice the cue, that awareness comes up because the cue is going to happen. The thing is going to happen. This is your business and it's going to happen. The business is going to be slow. The emails don't get opened up. Whatever it is that's going to be the cue, it's going to happen. So instead of immediately jumping into that same routine that you always do, open up your AI tools and take a pause and review and describe what's happening. Like you could say something like, the business feels slower than usual this month. My first instinct was to create a whole big video series. But before I do that, act like a marketing strategist and let's talk about what information I should review first so we can develop this content plan. There you go. That's an entirely different conversation. So you're not reacting now. You're not like, give me a whole video series of information that I need to start talking about. You're reflecting. And AI can help you slow down enough and start asking these questions. So think about it from that place. Think about these types of prompts where you could say, and now once you get that information based on this marketing results, where's the part where people are getting stuck on their customer journey? Where are my customers not seeing the results or seeing the solution with my products? See what we're talking about here? We're talking about questions. We're talking about the customers. How can they buy from me? So maybe the problem doesn't turn into, well, you're not showing up enough. Maybe you are showing up enough. Maybe when you put your results into the AI tools, it comes back that it was the sales page, it was the landing page, or maybe it was your follow-up process, or maybe the offer itself that price really was too high. But instead of just moving forward without any information, utilize AI as the opportunity to investigate instead of just guessing about this. And then you could wrap this all up and say, if you were my marketing coach, what would you tell me not to change, and what conclusion should I avoid or assumptions should I avoid based on these results? You know what I mean? Ask it to challenge you. One slow week is not my marketing isn't working. One quiet month is not nobody wants what I sell. Let AI help you challenge these stories. Let AI look at your numbers and help you review your actual data so that what comes back is more powerful. It becomes connected to the actual real customers who are utilizing your products and are members of your community. And if we think about it from that place, we now are now not just automatically going into, I'm going to do this, do this, do this. We're being very intentional and very purposeful about that. And that's a very powerful place. When we start to look at it from that place, when you start to understand what it's like to help you really grow your business, it's not that you're just replacing the old loop. You're talking about what the new one should look like. And so if we think about it from there, the cue is business feels slower is the awareness. You immediately have your awareness and we recognize the cue. So then we instead move into our routine. Instead of just creating more content, we review, reflect, ask questions, study the numbers, talk to customers, use AI to help you analyze what you're seeing, and then you can be more intentional with your actions. And then when we reward, the reward that's going to come back to you, it's not just relief because I'm being busy. We have clarity. We're celebrating the fact that we've learned more about who our customers are. And not that everything here is perfect, but what's happening with this reward is that we've interrupted the old loop. And every time you choose strategy over panic, you are strengthening your business. This is how you grow your business. And if we look at it from that place, because when I do that, and I've been working with businesses now for 20 plus years, and I notice that the ones that are stepping up and not avoiding the challenges, the ones that experience the slow months, they know how to keep moving forward, and they're not just automatically panic reacting. They investigate, they ask better questions, they're reviewing their data, and they make intentional adjustments. And over time, that becomes their habit loop. And these habits compound over time. And that's what creates stronger marketing. That's what helps with better decisions for your business. And that's what helps you create more sustainable growth. So the next time you're feeling, oh, business is slow, pay attention to your first instinct. Don't judge it, just notice it. What habit loop am I about to step into? Take that awareness there, because that loop itself can give you some temporary relief, but the one that's going to help you really create growth in your business, that's going to be determined by the way that routine changes, and those small habits, those small patterns that you repeat over and over again. This is what's going to help you move forward. And when you start to change the way that you react to those cues, the reward becomes better. And the biggest breakthrough isn't just that your marketing is just a new strategy every single month. It's because it's finally working and you're finally able to reach new clients. So thank you so much for joining me today. If this episode is giving you some ideas to start to learn some new marketing skills, I would love it if you would hit that like button. And then do me a favor. Hit the share button and share this with another business owner, especially somebody who you think has been struggling with their business and they're just not sure how to figure out how to get their footing with them. And if you are interested in taking this further and want to join us inside the Marketing Strategy Collective, we take all these ideas and we turn them into this marketing plan that's going to drive you sales. Stop working in a solo bubble and learn what it feels like to work in a collaborative space to get the help you need. You see the link below. You know what to do to learn more to get help, because you are magnificent, my friend. And let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time.